Happy Friday, everybody! You have made it to the weekend, and isn't that an awesome feeling? You know, going throughout the week and doing your day to day stuff, and life can get you down and it can drive you crazy, but you're here. You made it to Friday, and it is gonna be a great weekend, right? Everybody's gonna have an amazing weekend. So I hope that you are going to be filled with a bunch of positive things happening. Zach, yes, and actually I was going to bring this up because I am going to give a shameless little plug. If you notice my shirt, it is actually my future son-in-law has a YouTube channel, and it's Show Off 3.4. And it's amazing. If you're a car guy or car girl, you'll absolutely love it. If you know nothing about cars, it's very informative. If you know everything about cars, it's very informative. So just just go check Zach out on his channel. And it's a lot of fun. I really like it. And I think you guys will too. So what we're going to talk about today is anxiety. And I have said before that this word gets thrown around a lot. And it's overused, actually. So I want to kind of give you the feeling as to, is it anxiety or are you just nervous? So I'm going to go through something that happens to me actually quite regularly. And I'm very thankful to have a husband who understands what I'm going through, and when I do go through this, he is right there for me every time. So you go to the grocery store, you're going along, you're putting stuff in your cart, having a great time. If you can have a great time grocery shopping, me and my husband can, so I can say that. But you're in the grocery store, and then all of a sudden your heart starts pounding like really hard, and it feels like it's going to jump out of your chest, and it's going so fast, and then your palms get sweaty, and you're like, what the heck is going on with me? All right, let's keep going, whatever. But then you start to shake. Your heart is racing, your palms are sweating, you start to shake. And then the room starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's a scary feeling. And in all actuality, things around you really do start to blur. And it's almost as if the noises around you are heightened. Like, you can hear the woman that's at the end of the aisle. You can hear what she's saying. You can't understand it, but you can hear her words. And you think that, everybody's looking at you and they're talking about you, and it's horrible. And then you get to the point where you feel like you're going to pass out. And you just got to get out of there. You got to remove yourself from the situation. Something has to happen. It honestly feels like you're dying. That happens on the regular for me. When I go out in the public arena, I have a lot of moments where I have to look at my husband, and he just knows it's time to get her out of here. Anxiety is breathtaking. And nervousness is when you're getting ready to take a test and you hope that you don't fail. That's being nervous. Nervous is when you go to meet her parents for the first time. Anxiety is not being able to go. Anxiety can hit you. Well, actually, there's many different types of anxiety. And I'll take you up on that offer, Bobby. We'll have lunch. Okay, so there are the types of anxiety that can hit you anytime, any place. I have moments in my own home where my anxiety takes my breath away. Then there are anxiety issues or disorders where a certain thing causes the anxiety. It can be triggered by even just an object. Think about, I can tell you there is one object that will trigger an anxiety attack on me quicker than anything in the world, and that's strings in a hoodie. There's a reason behind that. Maybe someday I'll get to that, but I'm just not ready to do that just yet. But, if there are strings inside somebody's hoodie, it takes my breath away. And if you go through my closet, all the strings are gone out of a hoodie. So a thing, an object, can cause somebody to have an anxiety attack. The social anxiety is when obviously you're in a social setting. Even church can do this to people. There's a bunch of people. You start feeling self-conscious. You feel like, oh my gosh, am I going to do something to embarrass myself? You feel judged by everybody in the room. They're looking at me. Why are they looking at me? Did I wear the wrong outfit today? Am I going to say the wrong thing? I'm just going to be quiet. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to go sit over here in the corner. That's a social anxiety. That is probably one of the most common anxieties that are out there. And you will notice that, if you were in a group of people, at least one person in that group is having an anxiety attack and trying to just make it through the moment. And we need to be aware of that. As crusaders of this, we need to make sure that we're looking for that person that's having a rough time. Because if we can ground them, if we can bring them to the back to be feeling okay, one-on-one with somebody really helps them out. It takes them out of the big picture, and it makes a person just grounded in the situation. They're still there. They're still being involved. But the one-on-one can actually work miracles. Then there's a generalized anxiety disorder. And that is where anything, you worry about everything. You worry if the rain is going to put raindrop spots on your car, and if it does, is it going to ruin the paint? And then if it ruins the paint, am I going to have to buy a new car? And your brain just doesn't shut off. Everything everywhere is a worry to you. And so you try to, you basically isolate yourself because you're worrying about everything. And that disorder is probably one of the most life-interrupting disorders there is. A good 9 times out of 10, the generalized anxiety disorder is also put in with another mental illness. Most of the time, they go hand in hand with that diagnosis. So we've got the social anxiety disorder where you can't leave the house, or you can't go into a group of people. I can get in the car with my husband anytime, any day. I could ride around with him for hours. We get on our motorcycle actually, and we do that, and that helps me out because I'm out, and it's the wind is in my face, and I don't have to talk to anybody, and nobody is looking at me. And actually, I've got that helmet on my head, so it kind of masks who I am. So we have social anxiety, where you can't be in a setting of people, a group of people. We have anxiety to where a certain thing or situation will trigger your anxiety. That one is a little bit easier to treat. And the reason I can say that is because I know when that's going to happen. I mean, it happens anytime. Don't get me wrong. It can happen at weird moments. But I also know what I need to do. I need to remove myself from the situation. I need to go into the bathroom, wash my hands, just take a deep breath. That one, in my personal opinion, I'm no doctor, but in my personal opinion, that one is the easiest to treat. The thing is that with anxiety, you can feel like you're having a heart attack. And it is so debilitating that you feel that there is a medical issue happening in your life. So my advice about that is, at first, if you're going through something like this, you need to go to a doctor and have all your tests run and figure out if there is something medically happening before you go to the anxiety issue. Once you have all the testing done and they find no medical, physical reason, then we need to go to the medical mental illness reason. Having a psychiatrist that can specialize in anxiety will help you go further in your recovery in all of this. You will find that there are psychiatrists that have the whole gamut of mental illness under their belt. They can, they know about this, they know a little about that, they know a little about this. But if you can find a psychiatrist that specializes in your particular illness, that will take you will be able to move mountains. And all you need to do when you are looking for a psychiatrist is ask them, what do you normally treat? What do you know about this? It goes a long way. I also wanted to mention that with anxiety, and sometimes, like I said, getting out the door is it feels like a life sentence. It feels like you're dying. If your insurance provider allows it, do the teledoctor or something like that, where you can do it by FaceTiming a doctor. Even Dr. Phil has that Doctor on Demand. I don't know if anybody watches Dr. Phil, but he does Doctor on Demand. So you can speak to a psychiatrist over the phone. And a lot of times a counselor that you need to speak with, not just to get medications, but a counselor to talk with, you can do that without ever having to leave home. And then once you do that, it will get you to the point where you can leave home. So just remember that there are so many options now that you don't have to suffer with anxiety without getting the help that you deserve. If you have had an episode of anxiety more than once, you need to talk to somebody. If it's not just nervousness over taking a test, or, whatever, meeting her parents for the first time, and it's something that you've done a million times before, and you just can't do it today, get help. There are so many options out there for you. And people with anxiety tend to drink to make themselves feel better. It kind of dulls the anxiousness. That doesn't help. You may get through the night, but then the next time you go out and you take a drink, you'll get through that night. And then you'll get to the point where you have to drink every time you go out just to be able to have a conversation with somebody. And then you're an alcoholic. Or you take a drug because you feel like, hey, that makes me lots of fun. Gonna just take this drug. Then you're gonna have an addiction on top of your anxiousness. And let me tell you that your anxiousness will go 100-fold if you add in an addiction of some sort. Like I've said before, most people that suffer from addiction suffer from some sort of mental illness. And I can guarantee that a good 5 out of 10 are suffering from an anxiety disorder. There's help out there. You don't need to drink to be you. You don't need to drink to get through that night. What you need to do is get real. Get real. Go to your doctor or find one on the internet and do it like this. And then go from there. You are not alone. As I said before, if you're in a group of people, somebody in that group is suffering from anxiety. Be better. If you're not the one suffering with anxiety, look for the person that is. Ground them. Help them take their mind off of the situation. Hug them. Take them to the bathroom. Be their voice. Just be there. Anxiety's no joke. It's not fun. And it's scary as shit because you feel like you're dying. So just love one another. Love the person through it. And love yourself enough to see a doctor. So next week, I'm going to go over coping skills, and I will talk about some coping mechanisms for anxiety. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I do to get through it. Sometimes it's just to leave, but, we do what we have to do to get through the next day. If any of you have any topics that you would like me to cover, I would absolutely do that for you. You can either send me a message on the page, or you can write it underneath the many posts that I've made. If you're suffering from something and need help, let me know. If you're feeling really good today, don't take it for granted and take advantage of that. The sun is shining in Michigan, and you guys know that I absolutely live off of the solar power that I get from the sun. So it is going to be an amazing day for me. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. Another shout out to my future son-in-law for the Show Off 3.4. Go on YouTube, check him out. Subscribe to his channel and get notifications because it is absolutely awesome and it's funny. It's really funny. There's a lot of stuff that they do on there that you'll get a kick out of. And I love you, Zach. And I don't know if you've been on here. Zach is on here almost every day, as much as he can be on here. And that's my future son-in-law. So thank you, Zach. I love you with my whole heart. And for the rest of you, I love you too. Go celebrate something today, even if it was just the fact that you got out of bed, because that's amazing too. And have a great day, you guys. And always, always remember, your story isn't over.